Welcome everyone to this edition of the Orange County Business Survival Kit series. Today is the third episode in this series, and we are focused on e-commerce. So many of our businesses, small, medium, large, have had to pivot during this time, during the coronavirus outbreak, and have had to take on new directions in terms of their business, and in many cases go online. So developing an e-commerce platform that is best for you is critical right now, and we have the experts here to help you do that. Again, my name is Bill Fioravanti. I'm the Director of Economic Development here for Orange County. And I'd like to first, before we get to our guests, I would like to share a little bit of pertinent information related to what's going on with the pandemic and how it affects our local businesses. First of all, I want to reintroduce our local economic response team. So in addition to myself, Amanda Dana, our tourism director, and Steve Knob, the director of our employment and training administration, have served as a live response team. Our contact information is right there. These numbers go right to us. And of course, our email is there. Any questions you may have about financial assistance during this time, unemployment claims for you or your employees, reopening, obviously that's what everyone is focused on right now, or any other concerns you may have. Again, we're here live. We'll respond to you. You've got someone to answer your questions, to be a resource, to connect you with others who can help you as well. You are not alone through this. We want to make sure you understand that. Speaking of not being alone, the Orange County government doesn't do it alone. All of these agencies you see here locally really help make up a safety net for our local businesses. The Orange County Chamber of Commerce has been an absolutely essential partner. Lynn, Cione, their president and CEO, is going to join us in just a few minutes. The Orange County Partnership, the local IDA, Council of Industry for our manufacturers, HVEDC, Empire State Development, and the Small Business Development Center all have worked seamlessly together to help support Orange County businesses. Now, I just want to introduce our guests, or at least let you know who will be here. Our guest presenter, our primary presenter, is Charlie Graham. He's the founder of Volume 8. Unfortunately, Charlie was not able to join us live, so he and I pre-recorded our interview, and I'll be showing that in a few minutes. He is going to give us some really exciting information about e-commerce, so that's absolutely essential. We also have joining us Lynn Cione, again, aforementioned, the president and CEO of the Orange County Chamber, and she's going to talk specifically about an e-commerce platform that the Chamber is preparing, working with a specific vendor in this, to allow their members and other business to become a part of that and sell on their own marketplace. So that's going to be pretty interesting as well. Before we get into that, I just want to give you a few other updates related to the pandemic and how it impacts businesses. First of all, let's do a little catch up on loans and grants. PPP update, that's the one everyone's been talking about. PPP loans are still available. The funds are still there. And actually some businesses are now some banks are lending to other customers, businesses who are not yet their customer. So that's a good sign, because a lot of people were closed out. Either their bank was done lending, or their bank or financial institution, in some case credit unions, were not lending to PPP. So this is really going to be a new opportunity for people. So looking here on some other details, Congress also changed the forgiveness rules. That was something that was a big concern, and something we went into detail on the last webisode, where employers now have more time to be able to spend the money they get from PPP. It's up to 24 weeks from the day that you actually receive the funds in your bank account. You did have to spend 75% of that loan on payroll. That number's been lowered to 60%. The loan coverage period is extended to the end of the calendar year. Payroll tax payments can be delayed through the end of 2020. And there is a reduction waiver now for employees who decline to return. So if you can't bring an employee back because maybe they want to stay in unemployment, or they have safety concerns, there is a waiver that can be signed, so you are not responsible for their return and for the payroll that would cover them. Also, if your loan is not forgiven because you're not able to meet the requirements, then you still can pay it back. It becomes a 1% loan at that time, and the payback time has been extended to 5 years. Now just touching on a couple other programs that we did share last time. The New York Forward Loan Fund, that's a capital loan. It's intended for businesses who did not receive the PPP or the EIDL loan. So it's targeting those business and those that are small, defined by 20 or fewer nonprofits. We have the link up there for you to follow to actually apply for that. But again, if you have any questions or you need some assistance with that, contact us. We'll help you with that as well. Okay, next up, Central Hudson is another one we introduced on last week in our last webisode. This is $1 million loan fund that Central Hudson Gas and Electric set up. There are a number of local banks that participate. The grants can be up to, the grants can be up to $10,000. I'm sorry, the loans, and there's a forgivable piece in the beginning. Find out more information by going to sendhud.com, looking through the business customer section, and you'll find the information on the Back to Business funding program. Let's get to reopening now. This is what everyone seems to be concerned about for sure. It's an exciting time. It's definitely nice to see that we are open and businesses are returning. That's what we all have been waiting several months for, and it's great to see it actually happening successfully. Let's just talk about the first phase here. Well, phase one, of course, started with construction and manufacturing. That was the first that opened in curbside retail. We entered phase two just last Tuesday, and that opened a lot more here in terms of businesses and nonprofits. Offices of all types opened. In-store retail, of course, with social distancing and other protocols that are necessary, but in-store retail being open obviously is a game changer for so many small businesses and for consumers out there who are trying to get back and shop. Outdoor food service with some restrictions. If there is a fixed roof, that's a problem. If you have an awning, something else like that, then you can have, and you have to have tables and chairs, but you can have outdoor bar and food service. It seems like some of the guidance from the state is changing a little bit, and they may loosen that up, especially for phase three. We're hoping it happens for the remainder of phase two, but that still has not yet been confirmed. Hair salons and barbershops, those folks, we definitely been feeling for them. We've talked to so many of them that have been struggling through this time, so they're open now. We're happy about that. Vehicle sales, leases, and rentals, real estate, many different real estate activities, clean retail and commercial cleaning, building management, commercial building management, and again, real estate we have on there as well. Look for the phase two information on the New York Forward website. That'll give you more information, specific guidance, safety plans that are tailored to your specific industry sector. It's a big help right there. Let's talk about who's not yet approved to open for phase two. Nail salons and spas, they've been designated for phase three, which is coming up on June 23rd, by the way. That's coming up, that is next Tuesday, so that's pretty exciting. Massage therapy also is in phase three, along with tattoo parlors, indoor food service, and that, again, the food service indoors, that's going to be great to be able to go back and dine inside, but it will be COVID-related protocols. You'll have to have a mask on when you're not at your table. When you're at your table, you'll be able to take that off. Same as outside. So we hope that people respect that, because we want to stay open now that we're open. Public transportation also is slated for phase three, and gyms, fitness centers, exercise classes. Boy, it's another group of businesses who really have struggled through this and are just waiting and waiting to reopen. It looks like phase four will be the official opening for that sector, and we're hoping that some sort of fitness classes outdoor and such will be allowed in phase three, and that hasn't been announced yet, but that is something that we're hoping is on the horizon. Also, phase three guidance can be found on the state's New York Forward website. Not yet announced. Major sporting events, concerts, movie theaters, museums, water parks, most in-person education. You're going to see a lot of that change and shift to continue to be online education. Youth sports leagues, that's been a challenge for folks and been quite frustrating, but that's something that is still not yet there. Some spa services are going to come back, and hotels, they have been open for people that needed rooms, but the restaurants, gyms, pools, and such have not been open. So that's something we're looking for as well. Lastly, our Reopen Orange website. That's something I really encourage everyone to check out. You just go to the Orange County website, which is orangecountygov.com, a little different, orangecountygov.com. You can't miss our COVID banner that's right there on the main page. And you click on that. We have a number of great resources available for businesses and individuals, whether it's about testing, it's about reopening, volunteering, really understanding the governor's executive orders. It's all explained there on our COVID page. And there's also, as you see on this graphic here, there's a reopen orange button right there that we're pointing to. Click on that. We have a number of great resources that are there to help you be able to get yourself open and have all the resources necessary. So I encourage you to check out Reopen Orange. That's important. And again, contact us with any questions you may have or any assistance you need in reopening. That's absolutely what we're here to do, and we want to help you every step of the way. Okay, now we're going to shift to our first guest. We're very excited to have Charlie Graham contribute to this broadcast. Unfortunately, as I mentioned at the top of the show, he's not able to join us live. Charlie's a busy guy, has a number of obligations during this and a number of Zoom and Microsoft Teams calls like we're on right now. But we did have the opportunity to speak to him earlier, and I'm going to show you the recording of our interview. So let me just get him queued up here, and here comes Charlie Graham. If you don't mind, why don't we start by you talking about Volume 8 a little bit. Tell us a little bit about what your firm does.
Sure. So Volume 8 is a boutique. We do a lot of custom work. We support websites. We build a whole lot of WordPress websites, custom websites as well. And more than that, we do discovery into technological solutions and build custom applications as well. We have a lot of clients here in the Hudson Valley and also throughout the United States.
All right, terrific. Obviously, you've helped develop a number of e-commerce solutions for your clients, and that's what we're here to talk about. We have a lot of small businesses that are tuning in here, so I really want to start and keep this as basic as we possibly can. Can you just talk about what the building blocks are in terms of putting together an e-commerce solution? What are the different pieces that you need to take a look at?
Yeah, I think it's important to almost turn internally and take a look at your business as it is. Take a look at the operations. Consider your products, how you manage inventory, if that's important to you, your return policy, how you are going to ship, if you're shipping, your logistics, and then also just how you want to process payments. I think those are the 4 key things that you want to consider when selecting an e-commerce platform.
Okay, terrific. I next want to ask you about what some of the different platforms are out there, and we've talked about this before, and what's hot seems to be changing, of course, through the years. I'm showing it's going to be a video here. I'll play an illustration at least. This lists different e-commerce platforms that are out there that are available. I'm just going to read through the ones just from top to bottom right now. WooCommerce, Shopify, Wix, Squarespace, Ecwid, OpenCart, PrestaShop, Magento, Weebly, ZenCart, VirtueMart, BigCommerce, UberCart, Sitecore, and CSCart. So I've thoroughly intimidated our viewers, I'm sure, but that's part of what we're hoping to explain here is that there are a lot of options out here. So this is a little illustration that shows how popular or how much market share these different platforms have had going back to 2011. So I'm going to show this illustration right now for our viewers. You see this changing through the years. Right there was the emergence of Squarespace. And Shopify is certainly come to the top. And this runs right through today, through this pandemic. So now you're seeing where we're at with WooCommerce being on top. Charlie, can you tell us what we saw there?
Yeah, I think it's important for small businesses when they're starting to think about e-commerce for the first time or even for a second time to understand that there is no magic bullet. There's no platform that's going to be perfect for everybody. And you saw that in the visual, ever since e-commerce kind of emerged, this platform was popular, and then that platform was popular, and then this one was overtaken by the other one. It's constantly changing. And I think the important takeaway from that graphic, from that visual, is you need to find what's right for you. Again, there is no magic bullet. There's so many different platforms out there that service different needs, that are customizable in different ways. So you really have to find the one that's right for you.
So just looking at that bar chart there, that dynamic bar chart that we had there are a lot of names there. Just to help break it down very simply, are there some you can mention that are for smaller businesses, some for the big guys, and some for maybe those in the middle of the road?
Yeah, I think for most of the smaller businesses, all-in-one or proprietary solutions are probably advantageous or even ideal. Things like Square or Shopify or Squarespace, those you can kind of jump in, create an account, and they will walk you through it for the most part. Middle of the road, mid-sized businesses might need a little more customization. Things like WordPress or WooCommerce are really popular there. And then larger companies that have some really hefty logistics issues or inventory tracking needs, they might rely more on like Sitecore or Magento or some larger builds there.
Okay, that's helpful. What about point of sale, that component, the payment piece? Is that something that's integrated with these platforms, or is it something you need, another solution you need to kind of plug in, or does it depend upon the platform?
Yeah, some of these platforms have their own proprietary point of sale. Square is a great example of that. Others you can integrate third-party point of sale, but I also would urge small businesses to think about whether or not they need to connect their point of sale in their brick and mortar with their e-commerce experience. You know, one of the main reasons why they would want to do that is to track inventory properly, but it's not always necessary, and it can often cause more of a headache than it's worth.
What's the alternative? Completely separate?
Yeah, to run e-commerce separate from brick and mortar.
I see. Oh, I see the combination of the two there, of that and brick and mortar. Understood. Okay. One of the solutions for POS that you decide is any of that dictate your payment cycle, how long you wait for payments, or is that the same across all platforms?
Well, so point of sale, when we say POS, we're thinking specifically brick and mortar, at location, point of sale. When we're considering e-commerce, we're considering payment gateways, ways to accept payments online. And so there are a lot of different payment gateways that you can consider, from to checkout to authorize.net to PayPal to Stripe. And some of the considerations there are, I know some small businesses really need to be considerate of cash flow. So for instance, Intuit, their payment gateway could take quite a bit of time to get your money in your bank versus say a Stripe or a PayPal. So those are some considerations with payment gateways. A lot of people also think about fees. One thing I would urge people, most of these payment gateways, the fees they're pretty similar. You know, you're going to fight over 1.9% versus 2.4 or 2.9. At the end of the day, you've got to do calculations on what's feasible. But the last thing I would recommend with the payment gateway is the user experience. So how difficult is it for your customer to make a payment to you? And I think that's paramount when you're considering payment gateways.
Can you talk a little bit more about the user experience, how critical that is, or not, if it's just yet another detail in everything they have to assess?
It is another detail on what they should be assessing, but you know, it's often overlooked. The experience that we create or provide for our customers is going to determine whether they come back or whether they walk away. You don't want their visit to your e-commerce site to be their first visit to be their last. You want them to come back over again, and you also want them to recommend you to others. So if you provide the best possible experience, you've done everything in your power to make sure that happens.
So if user experience is of paramount importance to a company, they may choose a certain package that is a little stronger in that area. There are some that are better than others in that regard.
Yeah, it's, you know, I don't want it to feel like this amorphous, ethereal thing, this user experience, or what is it? You know, if you really want to put your finger on it and know what it is, demo some of these e-commerce platforms. Reach out to them. Most of them offer demos. Go in and actually use it yourself. And if you find yourself like, wait, why can't I do this? Why isn't that working? What's happening here? That's a bad user experience. If you're like, oh, that was easy, that's a good user experience. So assess the platform that you're thinking about for your own small business personally, demo it, and see if it's difficult, see if it's easy. That's your user experience.
That's great advice for sure. This is something, Charlie, that you've touched on a little bit, but I want to give you an opportunity to kind of expand on your answer. What different areas of a company's operation must the business owners look at in order to consider the right solution? You've touched on payments, logistics, but can you kind of go through that? What are the areas they need to look at to determine which solution is best for them?
Yeah, I mean, inventory is probably the biggest one, because if you need to track inventory or sync inventory between brick and mortar and e-commerce, it gets a little more convoluted, and you really need to find an offering that excels at that. The other is shipping. You know, if you're shipping out products, if they're oversized or overweight, that's a consideration. Or if you're on the flip side, if you're just doing pickups. If you're a restaurant that's selling meals for pickup, there's some platforms that are just not really good at that, and there are others that are built for that. Press to Cart could be an example, or some of the others. Cione, Square does it as well now. So, you know, those are, you just want to write down all your considerations, your needs. Whenever we get a new client, there's always something called the scope of work, and the scope of work outlines the deliverables and the precise needs of the engagement. For every small business, when they are looking for an e-commerce platform, write your own scope of work, figure out what you need for your business to operate correctly, and then find a platform that provides those.
Terrific. One of the other things that I think of when I think of an e-commerce experience is return policies. Is that something that really comes into play when you're trying to find the best solution here?
Yeah, so I like to use the analogy that, you know, when you're a brick and mortar company, more than likely you're operating on one cash register. When you're an e-commerce business, you have hundreds and hundreds of cash registers, if not thousands. So you can easily scale up your sales. What happens if your returns scale up as well? So you really need to consider your return policy and how you want to approach that. What are you going to offer? What can you tweak? What would you change? And how do you facilitate returns? Because again, returns are a very important part of user experience. And we all shop Amazon, so we know how simple returns can be.
Sure. That's a good point. Good point for sure. Really, there's been a lot of information you've shared. You helped break it down. We really appreciate it. But it still can be a daunting experience trying to find this kind of solution for a company that's never done it before. Any suggestions of how they really can get started with this? You know, what's the first step they can take?
Yeah, there's a great acronym, DYOR, and it stands for Do Your Own Research. And I think it's important for every small business to kind of understand the landscape, you know, understand a few of the offerings out there and some of the differences between them, and don't just pick one. That's a really bad idea. Don't just listen to advice. Go out and demo them. Take a look at them. Read some articles that compare and contrast them. And if you're still not sure, and even if you are sure, maybe go hire a professional. There's a lot of competent web development agencies and marketing companies here in the Hudson Valley that can help you do that. So try to find one that you can trust or afford, and get their help in implementing the right platform. Tell them what you found in research and what your needs are. Show them your scope of work and your requirements for your business, and get
Terrific. That's great, Charlie. Can I just ask about volume made? Obviously, you work in this space. Do you work with typically smaller customers? Just tell us kind of who you work with so we know.
Yeah, we love to help out small businesses. Unfortunately, our model doesn't allow us to do it too often. Most of our clients are in the mid-size range to the larger company size range. And a lot of the builds we do are WooCommerce and WordPress for e-commerce. WooCommerce is a very flexible platform, but it does take a little bit more time, energy, and money to implement.
Sure.
But I'm always, look, I love to help, and I live here. I've lived here my whole life. So if you have a question for me and you're a small business, shoot me an email. I might regret it later, but I'll help you more than likely.
Terrific, Charlie. And let me say, you've always been that resource to me. I think you're one of our great young thought leaders in this area. That's why I always come to you for your perspective, and we really appreciate this here. I'm sorry you couldn't join us live today. I know you're a busy man, and Volume 8 is very, very busy. But if you don't mind, we'll probably have some questions at the end of this broadcast and after the replay. Do you mind if we email you some questions and you respond to any of our guests here today?
Yeah, no, I'm happy to field any questions you give to me via email. So
Terrific.
Please, if you're watching this out there, send Bill a lot of questions.
Terrific. I'm going to share your contact information if you don't mind, Charlie, so we'll spread it out.
No, send it to Bill first.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. I may edit this part out. We'll see. Charlie, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Always a pleasure and always super insightful. Continue to stay well. We'll see you again soon, okay?
My pleasure. Thank you, Bill, for having me.
Thanks, Charlie. Bye-bye.
All right,
Okay, man.
Our thanks again
That's
to
it.
Charlie Graham out there.
I think we're good. I'm going to replay it. If I see any major glitch, I'll call you back, but I don't think so. But I'll text you either way to tell.
Okay. I am back. Thanks for listening to that interview. Thanks to Charlie Graham for joining us again. Apologize for a couple technical glitches there, but that was very, very helpful information. I do encourage you to send us some information. Send us your questions that you may have after this. We are going to be posting this video, and it will be on our, at least the link to it will be on the Orange County Economic Development Facebook page. So if you haven't liked that, please go visit that. Easy to find, Orange County Economic Development. You'll see it's got our seal right there in orange. Please like it and follow us, and yeah, check out the replay of this, and please enter any questions you may have in the comments, and tomorrow we're gonna respond to those and make sure everyone has their questions answered. So thank you again to Charlie Graham. Let me also share his contact information. I want to make sure people see that. This is Charlie Graham, again, the founder of Volume 8. Please take his number. Am I sharing that? I got to make sure I'm sharing that. Pardon me. There we go. That's Charlie Graham's contact information, his number there, and email. And notice it does say .co at the end. That is the correct email address. It's not .com. I've made that mistake myself. Please make sure you have that right. Make sure you've got it. There's the information. There you go. Absolutely terrific. Okay, great. Next up for us is our next guest, Lynn Cione. We're so glad that she could be here. She is the president of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. As I said, the Chamber has been just an absolutely invaluable partner for us. We would not be able to do what we're doing and support the businesses in our community the way we have without Lynn. Lynn, I want to welcome you. I'll bring you here on the screen here. There we go.
Thank you for the invite. I've been wearing a mask for the past couple of hours, so it's great to breathe the free and clean air.
Really?
So yeah.
Are you back in your office, by the way, in the Chamber back in business there as of this past week?
There's my shop small sign where we're phasing in. We came in with phase 2 as an office. So we're phasing in slowly with our staff to make sure that we meet all of the requirements. So I'm in the office now, but we're here some days and we're not here other days because we're also on the road visiting members.
Great. Lynn, before we get into the subject at hand, let's talk about the response. I've mentioned it a few times on this call, but can you just talk about the way that the chambers responded to businesses and their needs during this, and of course, partnering with the county on that?
Sure. We've done, this similar, and I want to thank you for your partnership too, and County Executive Steve Newhouse. It's been invaluable for us as well. We've really, as everyone else, have been kind of navigating through uncharted territory. So some of the things that we've done is we've helped, at the very, very beginning, is to help businesses determine, were they essential, were they not essential, where did they fit, if they needed to file a waiver, help them with, the EIDL and the PPP and all of the different loans that had come out. I don't know if you saw that they opened the EIDL again today for new applications.
Beyond agriculture.
Yes, beyond agriculture. So
it was limited to that, so that's definitely great news.
It is great news. It is great news. So, really helping the businesses to navigate through the financial, through the unemployment, through a lot of the human resource, the HR experiences that they were having, to make sure that their customers and particularly that their team members were safe. So now we're helping, and we've been helping with the guidance. I've been helping a lot with writing the plans for reopening and the safety. As you know, we're in phase 2, looking forward to, and fingers crossed that we'll be heading into phase 3 next week. So that's really where we are right now, because we're in the middle of reopening too. We're doing a lot of visits, site visits to the to our members to help them reopen and to help them kind of navigate their marketing and some of the things that they need to do. It's not just meeting the day-to-day needs today and next week and into phase 4, which will be in July. I believe it's July 7th or 8th. We're looking for, as long as our numbers stay in the way that they are. But it's also, what do you want your business to look like? How can you revision your business? What are you bringing forward with your business? What are you leaving there, leaving behind? One of the things that's very, very important, I think, that we've all learned is not to take anything for granted, because things can be taken away from us really quickly, but also to constantly look at our businesses and our lives and see, where do we want to go and what can we leave behind? It's been a growing experience and a painful experience coming through this, but especially I think in Orange County, we're exceptionally resilient. And our businesses are resilient, our people are resilient, and I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to come out better than before. Our motto since the reopening has been, let's get back to business, Orange County, and we have. I mean, people are out, people are shopping, the restaurants are doing outside dining, the retailers are doing great, the businesses are opening, so it's exciting.
It really is. It's as I said at the top, it's really fun for us, having worked with small businesses, and since day one, as you said, you hear the despair and people confused and not sure where to go. And finally, we were able to connect them with all the resources they need to really save their businesses, which I think these PPP and the IDA's loan fund and some of these other resources really did do. But it's a lot more fun for us now in this phase that we're in, the stage we're in, I will say, where we're seeing the phased reopening. So it's been exciting. I know you're enjoying it too, and getting out there and documenting all the businesses that are back in business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're going to be doing grand reopenings for people. So if you ever want to join us on any of those, please let me know. We'd love to have you.
For sure. Lynn, if you would, can you now talk about the subject at hand? You heard Charlie Graham there talking about a number of e-commerce solutions, really kind of off-the-shelf products. They're either proprietary, as he described it, or customizable or configurable was the term that he used. So that's if somebody wants to really reinvent the wheel, do it themselves. But there are other alternatives, including shared platforms. And the Chamber, in response to what's going out there and the shifting needs of businesses, small and large, you're working on launching a platform that will allow other businesses to use your marketplace. Can you describe what that's all about?
Sure, I would love to. One of the things I think that we've all learned the past few months is, and I don't think a lot of it will be going away, and this is a perfect example, we're doing things virtually. Our meetings are virtual, our webinars are virtual, our seminars are virtual, our committee meetings are virtual, so is our shopping. People are relying more and more on online shopping, and it's not just going to the big businesses. Many of our smaller businesses, once they were able to sell, they were selling off of Facebook. They were selling off of various digital social platforms. One of our members, Newburgh Vintage Emporium, and I know Bill, Anthony and Matt, basically every Saturday they were doing, it looked like an HSN or a QVC show on Facebook, where they were going through the antique stores, through the stores, showing people, and people were buying as they were going through the store with their phones. So we're seeing that consumer behavior has changed. Consumer behavior has changed dramatically. One of our concerns, and we're all about local business, keeping everything local, is how do smaller businesses utilize an e-commerce platform, which can be very pricey, and it can be very, very involved. Charlie had some great ideas for many people and for most people, but we have another opportunity for our members and for the community at large. And it's almost like an Etsy website where it's a marketplace, where people will be able to go onto this marketplace, and each business will be able to upload 25 items onto this marketplace. They'll have their own store. So it's real similar to Etsy. It's a marketplace concept. They'll be able to go on. They can go visit individual shops, or they can just type in and say, I want, a eyeglass case holder, or I want a pair of shoes, and they'll type that into the search bar, and then all of those items will populate the screen, from one business or however, and other businesses. So we're doing this as an opportunity for our local businesses to keep the money local. And Bill, I know that you know this statistic, but I'm going to say it again for those people who don't know.
You can never say it enough.
If every dollar you spend locally, 67 cents of it stays in our community. And I mentioned that this morning on another call that I was on with Van Ritchie from Wall Radio this morning. That's really important. It's always been important, but now it's even more important because our municipalities are looking at cuts. The county is looking at the cuts from the state. So when the sales tax has gone down. So it's vitally important to keep our money local. It's vitally important to keep our dollars here in our community, because we have to rely on ourselves more than ever before. So we have to make sure that our currency is keeping our local economy alive. So that's what we're looking at, and it's it's a real simple platform. People will be able to sell on this. They'll be able to have back end access, admin access to their own stores. They can put up their colors, whatever they want. They can also decide what kind of delivery they want, what kind of purchase they want. If they don't want to sell online as far as credit cards, people can just submit an inquiry about an item. So they'll be able to even put up an item to say, what, I don't necessarily want to deal with that online and the fees. I want people to ask, and people can then do it over the phone, or they can just buy it off of the e-commerce site. We're making it as simple as possible. We have a developer that we're working with from the Midwest, and we're hoping to get it off the ground a month or so, probably about a month.
Great. Can I ask you how it will actually work in terms of the transactions? Is all of that funneled through the chamber or whoever's hosting this? Do they have their own transactions, their own point of sale?
It's all there. Yep.
It's all automated there.
Yep, we do not control any of the payment. We do not control any of that. Each individual merchant is responsible and will have the opportunity to control all of it themselves. All we're doing is we're essentially hosting it and providing the opportunity.
Okay, terrific. So you said that you're about a month away. How are people going to know more? Are you going to launch this officially when you're ready? How are you going to roll it out?
It'll be launched officially. There'll be press releases. It'll be all over our Facebook page. Any of our businesses that are subscribers to any of our emails, they'll be notified through email, through press releases, through our social media, hopefully through you and the county. And we're looking forward to it. It's, we all have to be very creative as far as how we want our businesses to proceed. And this is just one more option among many. And Charlie very clearly said, not every solution fits every business. Every business has to really take a hard look at their business and find out what works best for them. So it's really a blessing to have this many options available, because what might scale well for one business may not scale well for another.
Absolutely true. I know you're still not ready, you haven't launched it yet, but any sense of how price will work or how cost will be structured for folks? Any idea how you'll do that?
Well, right now, what we're looking at first, we're going to open it up, obviously, for our members only. So the members will have it with access for $50. So it'll be $50, and then they'll have access. So once we get our members, because we are a chamber and we are member driven, once we have everything settled with our members, then and we can make sure that they are comfortable, because they are our, obviously our first priority are our members, and then we will open it up to the larger community. The pricing, we're not sure yet, but it will be much less than a traditional e-commerce site.
Sure. How about maintenance, technical support? That's something that will be handled through the hostie you're working with?
Yep. Everything will be handled. It's literally like an Etsy site. So if you, I've had an Etsy store in the past, and we don't take any commission on it. So it's not like Etsy in that respect, where there is, and neither does the host. So there is absolutely no money taken off. There's no percentage for hosting. So that's not an issue. So it's not like eBay or Etsy, where there's a charge for the transaction. So all of the technical, all of the support goes directly with our developer, who has been doing this throughout the country with other chambers. So we're very excited to be able to work with somebody who has this level of expertise.
Absolutely. So my last question is, what kinds of businesses do you think that this really can fit for? Who may it not be so good of a fit, and maybe they should consider one of the solutions, perhaps what Charlie talked about? Who's it good for, who not?
I would say that really small businesses are the better fit, rather than a business who does a huge amount of e-commerce. This is really for our small businesses. This is for our businesses that may or may not have a footprint in the e-commerce world. This is a good way to get your feet wet, literally, into e-commerce, where it's not so overwhelming, because the business isn't responsible for the site themselves. The business is not responsible for the development and the support. And if something goes wrong, it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? So all of that's taken care of. All of that is taken care of. That's why when I say it's like an Etsy site, that's the best, really the best example I can give, where all of the admin, all of the software, all of that is handled externally, where all you have to do is take your pictures, upload the pictures, and sit back and wait for the consumers to come. We'll be doing all the marketing of the site. So if somebody wants to do their own marketing for their particular shop, they can do that. But we, of course, because it'll be hosted by the chamber, we'll be doing all the marketing for the site itself. And we're taking sponsors for it to help us defray the cost, because we are bearing the cost for this. Sure. So and that's why we're working with our members first, because we want it to be a value add for the members first. So we are taking sponsors for this. So if anybody's interested, they can email me at lynnc@orangeny.com, and there'll be banners and lots of promotion for your business should you want to sponsor.
Sure, that's great. My last question about it is it really only good for goods if you're selling a particular product that you can see and have a picture of? What about service providers? Can they still use this?
Yep, definitely sell services, haircuts, services, gift cards, any of that, restaurants, anything like that, because it's the actual purchase. So it's the point of sale for the purchase, or if somebody also wants to I want to make a reservation or an appointment, or I want to do this, you can do that also through the inquiry option that's available. Okay,
terrific. Lynn, I just want to thank you again for your partnership through all of this ordeal. It really, I think we've all become so close and really worked better than ever. Without that, it would not happen. And solutions like this, it just show how innovative the chamber is and how responsive you are to the needs of your local businesses. So I really want to thank you for all that and for being here today.
Oh, of course. Thank you very much for the invitation. And, I also am grateful for the partnership that we have with the county. When we speak to people who are from outside from the area, they are always really, really impressed by the partnership that our chamber has with our government and our county government. And you folks have been wonderful. So thank you very much, Bill.
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks so much. We are going to have some questions after we've aired this as a replay as well. I hope that you'd be available. I know you're just a few steps from me. So any questions that you can answer, I'd love you to participate. And tomorrow we're going to give those answers. So thanks for your willingness to do that.
Of course, of course.
Wonderful. Lynn, thank you so much. Next,
Thank you.
have a great day, Lynn. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
That was Lynn Cione, CEO and President of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce, talking about an Etsy-style marketplace solution that they'll be launching in the next month or so. So look out. You know how to get a hold of the Orange County Chamber. Usually it's orangeny.com, or reach out to Lynn or any of her great staff. She has really a terrific team right now, and we're so appreciative of them. I just want to, before we wrap up, again, I mentioned it a few times throughout the broadcast, but we're not taking live questions right now, but we're asking people, because so many will watch it in the replay, we're asking you to go to our Facebook page, and that's Orange County Economic Development. Very easy to see. You'll see the orange version of our county seal on that page, so you'll know that's us. We'll be posting a replay of this broadcast, and we'll be looking for your questions in the comments, and we will respond to those. Any questions for Charlie? He'll respond on the e-commerce solution or on Lynn's platform that she presented about. Come check us out. Again, it's technically called Orange County NY Department of Economic Development on Facebook. Please do that. Check us out. And look out also for our next webinar, which will be next Tuesday at 2 o'clock. That is our new time right now. So we appreciate everyone staying with us really through this. And thanks for joining us today, or in the rebroadcast, however you may have done that. And I want to remind you that Orange County is here, and all of our partners, the Chamber, all the other agencies we talked about, we're here to help you through this. Any questions you may have about reopening, or if you need PPE, any of these technical questions on how you pivot your business and again, not only survive but thrive as we get through this ordeal and then hopefully return to normalcy. So please stay tuned. Keep watching our subsequent broadcasts for future subjects. And again, any questions you have, go visit our Facebook page, Orange County Economic Development, submit a question and we'll answer it there. But once again, thank you all for joining us. Be well, and we'll see you in future broadcasts. Take care.